Welcome to the UKOCR Community Podcast, presented by Obstacle Racing Media. Each episode, we'll be talking to race directors, elite runners, weekend warriors, and frankly, anyone else from the UKOCR scene that will talk to us. Here is your host, Alan, aka Muddy Duck.
Anywhere in Chicken Town. The bloody scene is bloody sad. The bloody news is bloody bad.
Greetings, friends, acquaintances, and anyone else just happens to be listening. Welcome to another edition of the UKOCR podcast with me, Alan, aka Muddy Duck. What have I got for you this week? Well, I'm having a bit of a throwback. The reason I'm having a throwback is because, as a lot of you know, I am moving house. Yes, and I am right in the middle of moving house, and that means I have no internet. So I've had to go to an internet cafe to do this, but I can't record anything. So that's why I wasn't on the Swift Half this week with Ian and Becky and Dan. Hoping to be back this week. Should be getting internet Wednesday or Thursday, so that means I might get something out to you next Monday. If not, I'm going to see if I can get somebody like the Pint Size OCR to do one a little bit early, maybe get them out if I can get internet. But that's me. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great week, whatever you've been doing. Did you see the Spine race? Ian didn't cover it the week on the Swift Half, but Jack did it by 10 hours over Damo. New record, absolutely phenomenal. A new record. Did it was it 3 days, and he had 30 minutes sleep, I think it was, something like that. But I'll speak about more on the Swift Half this week, but what an amazing feat. What have you been doing this week for an amazing feat? You have been doing something really, really good, something really, really well. In the meantime, we're going to go with Throwback Monday. I'm going to throw it back to one of our first episodes with Michelle Kehoe. A lot of you like this. One of our most highly downloaded podcasts. So I know a lot of you listen to it, and I hope you want to go back and listen to it again. But before I do let you listen to it, I want to remind you that the UK Obstacle Racing Awards are happening on March the 16th. There are a few seats left. Head over to our website, UKOCR.com, reserve your seat. And if you've already reserved one, please pay. And there's a lot of people who've reserved a seat and not paid. If you reserve one, you have all got one at this moment in time. So if you reserve one, please pay. We will stop taking them once we are full. So, please come and join us. It's down in Essex. And don't forget, we've got a race in the morning at Nuclear Races, Wild Forest, 3K, 20 obstacles. It's going to be fast, and it's a British Obstacle Sports qualifier as well. So, for Team UK. So don't forget, join us down there. Please sign up, UKOCR.com. At the top, go to awards, 2023 awards, and it is down in Essex on March the 16th. Nice meal, bit of fun, laughing and joking, and you get to hear Ian again, which we had on the Swift Half. I hope you enjoyed that as well this week. Anyway, let's get on with today's podcast. Michelle, thank you for joining us this week on the UKOCR podcast. How are you?
All right, thanks. Thank you very much for having me. It's a bit of an honour to be invited on, so thank you.
Yeah, I think you are our seventh or eighth guest. You were early on. We talked about having you on quite early on, but the way we needed the podcast to work, we needed to get a little bit more high profile people on. Not that you're not high profile,
I take that with any compliment that's meant. It's not a problem. I am a minion in the world of OCR.
No, I don't think you are. I think you probably think you are, but you're not, because when I've spoke to our researchers about you, everyone was like, oh yeah, and I've got like all these questions thrown at me to ask you, and we'll get through to some of them, but I'm not going to ask you every question because I'd have a list and it would just be a question and answer session. So
probably just because I'm old, Alan. It's just because I'm old, that's why people know me.
That was one of the questions, was how old is Michelle, because she runs like a 20-year-old. So how old is Michelle?
Well, I am 45 this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, because And I say that amazing because when we look at you, and I've seen you run and I've seen you race, you don't look like a 45-year-old racer. You do look like, you know, I would have said late 20s, early 30s. You are.
Oh, Alan, you know how to sugar talk women, don't you? Tell my husband. Tell him he's a lucky man. I tell you, oh bless you. No, do you know what? I think I'm blessed with good genes. My mum's dead young for her age. My grandma was. I've come from really good genes, I think. And I also think just keeping active and a young mindset keeps you the way you are. So, yeah, I am still an embarrassing mum. It's a rite of passage, that, isn't it, to be an embarrassing mum?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I don't know how you do it, because I'm jumping ahead of myself here, but, you know, you are an active racer, so you're a competitive racer. You're right up there with some of them, you know, your podium, a lot of events, and we're going to come to some of them events soon. You're a mum to 2 boys. Is it 2 boys? 2 or 2 teenagers. Yeah. 2 teenage boys. And that's not including Phil.
Yeah, he's the biggest kid of all. Yeah. I have to keep him on the reins more than the boys.
And then we've got Dexter.
Oh, yeah. 4 boys.
Yeah, 4 boys. And then you're and I always get this word mixed up, an entrepreneur, as in like with a CBD. An entrepreneur,
I'm an independent business owner. So yes, set up my own business amongst other things. I'm a busy bee. Clearly got too much adrenaline popping around, but I'll get onto that in my story.
It's great to have you, like I say. Let's go back then. So before Michelle, the OCR racer, came along, what sports were we into? What did we used to do at school? Tell us a bit about yourself.
Am I allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yes, you are. Yes,
I am. I was the horrible dick at school that loved every bit of sport. I was the team captain of everything. I was horrible. I was centre on the netball team. I played hockey on the wing because I was a fast runner. I could just turn my hand to sports. But I'm dyslexic, and I didn't know I was till much later on. That's why I thrived in sports. But from being a young age, I just knew I could run, and I got picked up on the age, it was 12. I think it was 12 when I got picked up to sprint semi-pro. So it's always in my genes to sprint. So, yeah.
Right, wow. So netball captain and everything else.
I was horrible. You know, when they go, it's cross country, and everybody goes, I'm going for a fag behind the bike shed. Yeah. I was the one going, oh, yes, miss, let's go. You can imagine. I was horrible.
And when you left school, did you continue with sports? Did you continue being active?
Yes and no. So I left school, got at 16, I got a job. I didn't want to go and do my A-levels because I struggled at school. Now I know why, because of my isms. Got a really good job at British Gas on an apprenticeship scheme, those old-fashioned things, and I got qualified ONC and HNC in business and finance. I did really well in my career, but I'd always, on the side, this is showing my age now, I always used to go to Pop Mobility at the leisure centre, and you pay your £2, and it was in the dark, and there was, you know, like Jane Fonda was giving it, where you used to wear your pants on the outside. And so I've always turned my hand to that. I've always been, you know, doing stuff. And then at the age of 24, I started teaching. I got qualified as an aerobics instructor because I thought, in the evening, why am I paying to go to, you know, Pop Mobility? I'll just get myself qualified. And so I started teaching, and that led on to being a level 2 gym instructor, which led on to level 3 personal trainer. And I set up my own personal training business when I was, how old was I now? 23, 24. So I've always been involved. But then when I had the kids, I wasn't a personal trainer for very long. I was actually a much better salesperson than I was a personal trainer. People did me head in. Oh, they do me head in. You turn up at Fat Susan's house, and Fat Susan wouldn't do what you'd ask her to do. And it just destroyed my love of fitness. I was just a rubbish personal trainer. So I went back into my sales ground and had the kids, got fat and unfit, and then rediscovered my love of exercise about 5 years ago when I discovered obstacle course racing.
Wow. And you can't look back since, because, you know, you jumped onto the obstacle course racing scene, you know, and I know you've got a few podiums and that, as we will say, which we're going to come to in a minute, because I'm going to ask you what your accomplishments are in a bit. So what was the first race you ever did then? What was the first OCR? The first one
I did was pretty muddy, which, to be fair, is proper tame now once you've done a few, what I call it. I was like, oh my God, I've got to jump over an inflatable. I've got mud on my fingers, you know, and you're like, now it's full swamp donkey. But the first proper one was Tough Mudder. And my mate, Ollie Stern, you probably know Ollie's a really good runner, is incredible. So one of my really good mates, that's her nephew. And I was doing this Tough Mudder, and I was wet behind the ears. I didn't know what bloody Tough Mudder was. And Ollie very generously said, I'll run round with you. I'll show you how to get over stuff. And I was useless. But what I could do, I could bloody run. And I think I was the second female against like a 20-year-old. But wow. Ollie, I give Ollie his due. He gave up his race, and it was dead funny because he was shoving me over things. And right, when you get to this obstacle, do this. And he must have been like, oh my God, this 40-year-old woman, Jesus. But he was so good, and I always hold him in high regard for doing that for me. And yeah, I loved it, and it just ignited something. I burst into tears when I'd finished.
Yeah,
I'd never run more than 5 kilometres. The next minute, I'm doing Tough Mudder. But I did that because it was a bet in the pub. I'd had 85 pints and somebody bet me, and I went, oh, go on, I'll do that. And then, when you wake up in the morning, you go, what have I signed up for? I've done one of them pretty muddies. And then you go, what? 10 miles? What? Electric shop? What? And then, yeah.
Oh, so that was that in 2015 or 2016?
15. Yeah, 15. So it's 6 years. Yeah, I've lost a year because COVID's melted my brain.
So 2 years after that, you went back to Tough Mudder, if my research is right, and you ran in the competitive way when they offered cash, didn't you?
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind. I've won loads of them before. They did all podiums and stuff like that. Yeah.
So when you ran in the competitive way for cash, where did we come then?
I can't remember. I don't really keep count. Was this third? I think it was
yes,
second
you were
or
third.
third. Yeah.
You were
See,
third.
This is how much I'm not bothered.
You were third. So you went to earning, but I know a little thing about that day because you ran round with Ashley, didn't you?
Oh yes, God, yes.
Yeah, and where did Ashley come in the women's section?
Fourth, and only because he pushed me over the line. Yeah, I got hypothermia that day as well, and it was hilarious. I wish he'd gone first. Could that have been that'd be amazing, wouldn't it? He should have just gone first and taken the prize money. If
he'd have stood on the podium in the women's section, it would have
amazing.
Had a bloke in the women's section.
Yeah, bit of testosterone going on. Well, it's really funny because I really struggle with hypothermia. And was it that one? I can't remember now. Was it that one? I can't. They all blend into one after a while, don't they? And there's a picture of me literally passing out on the finishing line while Ash is having a really nice picture taken, being carted off to the medical tent. No, before they did the prize money, I think I even got a first or a second in that. I can't remember now. They've all blended into one.
Yeah, well, my research says you come third and then Ashley come fourth and Ashley ran round with you. And literally it pushed you over the line type of thing. And
I wish
if he'd have tread over the line just before you, he would have got third in the women's.
I would have loved to have had that happen. That'd be ace.
That would have been amazing. That would have been a brilliant result.
Oh.
I know you say you don't like cold, and there is a picture of you, and it's an amazing picture of Tough Guy. I mean, what was your thoughts to Tough Guy?
It's going to go blue. It was fucking awful. So my lovely mate Gary. We love my mate Gary. Come on, whenever I've done a race with Gary, it's always ended up in some sort of mad tale. I love Gary to bits. He's like one of my best mates. And he said, come on, do this Tough Guy. And I went, all right, okay, let's go. Now, I did it with no neoprene, just in race gaming. What a knob. So, I was fine till we got to the water. And then I'd lost Gary at some point. It was a case of just get your head down and get on with it. And there's literally a picture of me crossing the line, and I was literally crying my eyes out. I couldn't stop shaking. I got in the donkey hut afterwards?
Yeah.
Walked up to a load of strangers, and I couldn't stop shaking. I couldn't get my clothes off. And I just went up to these strange men and just said, they weren't strange, they were strangers, and said, can you take my clothes off? And they, yeah, shit, better get her stripped off. And they were very, very nice. They stripped me down to my undies and kept my modesty intact. They wrapped me up in a load of blankets. I got some clothes on, and one of the lads was talking to me constantly. He sent his son to get me chocolate biscuits and a hot chocolate that I shook all over my face. I kept thinking, why is he talking to me so much? But I didn't realise he was talking to me to keep me conscious.
Yeah.
And then Gary came in, and Gary went, oh, shit. And I believe my eyes were rolling. I couldn't speak. I was slurring my words. I was proper poorly. But Gary looked after me. And it's a bit of a standard joke now every year when the Tough Guy thing comes up on my Facebook. Oh, that's the race that I nearly died, Gary.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was proper poorly for about 4 days.
The picture of you crossing that finish line, you can really see that, you just weren't with it. You were in a complete and different world. I mean, Tough Guy is the only race that I've DNF'd at. I've done it 4 or 5 times, and it's one of them. I think it was my second or my third. I DNF'd. I cramped up all in my legs. Just couldn't move. Fell into the water twice. Just couldn't get out. It is probably
brutal.
Yeah.
But I didn't even run with it. Like now I've done Europe's Toughest Mudder, which again is not for me. It's not my thing. I ran that in a wetsuit, and even that 3 laps I got hypothermia in that with wetsuits and all the gear and no idea. But I'm just not good with cold, and it seems to be getting worse every time. Now it's a group, a standard joke within the solos group that I can even get hypothermia on a summer's day. I am just the way I am.
Did you not do no cold water training or anything?
Yeah, balls to that. Right there. Why would you do that? I've got a lovely warm shower. Why am I going to make myself cold every day? I know there's a lot of the Wim Hofmann methods, because they're actually linked into what I do. It actually stimulates your endocannabinoid system. I get it. I absolutely get it, and how it helps you. And it's so good for your immune system. It's so good for reducing inflammation. Balls to that shit. Life is not meant to be purgatory. So no.
No, you just go out and just do it, don't you?
I will pay the price later.
Where was Phil at Tough Guy then? What was Phil doing at Tough Guy?
He was at home looking after the kids, nice and toasty warm in front of the fire.
For anyone who's listening who doesn't know Michelle's other half is Phil. Phil's also an obstacle course racer. I'm hoping he comes into the room at some point, because I've got a question to ask him as well.
Oh, I'll get him in. Well, he's typical us. We've done a bit of gardening. He's gone to the tip with all the stuff. He loves a good tip run.
All us men do. There's nothing better than getting all the rubbish and putting it in the tip.
Yeah, that and a shed tidy. Yeah. Brilliant.
It's one of the best things ever.
Yeah.
So you were talking then about Tough Guy and the shed afterwards and the showers afterwards, getting stripped off. I remember my first ever Tough Guy. It was actually my second ever race. So my first ever race was Enduro in Sheffield. My second one was Tough Guy down in Wolverhampton. And you're right, afterwards, and I had actually got neoprene. I'd done the cold water testing, the neoprene, yeah, sensible. But I still got the hypothermia shake. I was there with the coffee, all the hot chocolate is, and it goes all over your face rather than in your mouth. But then when you go into the shed afterwards, and you're stripping off and everything else, there is no modesty. I know you said someone was covering. I've seen people just completely stripped off, stark naked, and.
When I first started OCR, and you'd see people, they'd have the bum hanging out, and you're like, oh my gosh, this is a bit. Now nobody gives a rat's ass if they see a boob or a bum or a whatever. You just turn the other way, because it's funny, you do see the newbies who are horrified with that. And it's like, even down to, it's a standard joke in the team that I run with, that I just always need a poo. We're not asked about nakedness. We're not asked about talking about poo anymore. And it's like a standard. Oh yeah, have you had a shit in the woods today? Yeah, did you? Yeah. It's just, we're not even phased, are we?
No, we're not. No. I think when you do some of the running that we do, I do a lot of fell running at the minute. A lot of my training's up in the Peak District in the fells, because they're only 30-minute drive from where I am.
So lucky.
Yeah. So I'm a lot trained up there, and I have always got toilet roll in my rucksack. It's always there, because you could be out there, for 3 hours running.
Yeah, you need to go.
And if you've got to go, you've just got to go when you're running.
I've learned a skill, Alan. On races, I can wee and run at the same time.
No way.
Yeah, it's a skill. I think the fact I've had 2 kids has had a helping hand in that, but
The pelvic floor's completely gone.
Yeah. I had to explain to my husband that when I go for a run, that actually I don't wet myself on purpose.
It's sweat. Honestly, it's sweat.
Certainly not. I smell like the pissy old lady after a run. So see all these young girls that are doing all the running new weights, they've had kids, a different kettle of fish altogether. And they're just taking it down to that toilet humour already, haven't I?
This is one of the most relaxed podcasts we've done so far.
Oh God!
There's nothing wrong with it. Like I say,
life is too short to be serious. I don't give a damn. I am. You get me like this on a good day or a bad day. I am what I am. I gave up mincing my words a long time ago.
And that's what we want, Michelle. So, I'd never ask you to stop. We meet every year in late August at my event. If we don't meet somebody else.
Burn marks from not last year, the year before, because it was such a gorgeous day, wasn't it?
Yeah. I always like to do mine in August because I want that sunshine. I want that
Beautiful
atmosphere, where we can all sit round the campfire afterwards and have a beer and chat. Because, I'm all for community, You know me,
the boys love it. I mean, Oscar's done amazing. It's so nice. And I think one year it absolutely lashed it down halfway through. And I think we'd rescued a couple of kids and we got them warm again. But it's just that community spirit. But last year, I keep saying last year, I've forgotten.
2019.
Yeah, whenever it was. It was a glorious year, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, beautiful. And then I got all the blokes afterwards to help me take down the monkey bars because we had to. Do you remember that? I got Phil lifting the monkey bars down.
I love them. It's the zigzag ones, isn't it? I love them. Yeah. I love it. I love that race. It's one of my favourites.
Yeah. So what other big races have we done then? So we've done the Tough Mudder, we've done Spartan, haven't we? I
love a bit of Spartan. Yeah, they're probably my favourite ones because you actually feel like you're competing fairly. Particularly in your age cat and things like that, and the elite, because some of the girls are, the 20-year-olds are as good as Olympic athletes. I'm 20 years on them, so I think the fairness of that is good. But my category is really tough. You're either really crap or fucking amazing in my age cat. So it's almost like there's nothing in between. So I like Spartan. What else have I done? God.
But you fall in that amazing category anyway, so...
Oh, I don't know this year. I think I've lost a lot of it, a lot of my willpower for running and stuff, but that's just life, isn't it? So I've not trained as hard as I would normally train. Running a business, life's got in the way, can't be arsed. Wine's more exciting than lifting a weight, though. But you know what? It'll come back. I'm not bothered. So...
But you say that, but... I've seen your Facebook and your Instagram posts and that, and you are still training. I mean, you are probably the only person, well, maybe one of about 5 people that I know in the north that have their own rig in the back garden.
Oh, that was a birthday present Phil made for me. To be fair, I don't use it as much as I probably should do. I need to give it a good clean. I know my grip strength's really gone because I worked on it really hard for the World Championships, and then I was so disheartened with the weather. I kind of have let a few things go, but I've actually had 8 weeks off training because I've not had great health for the last couple of weeks. So it's been my longest break ever from training. I'm probably going to have another week and then I'll probably ease back into it. So I've got a lot of work to do if there's going to be any races, but I'm using this year just to dip my toe in the water because I've literally not touched an obstacle in, it's going to be 18 months, 2 years by the time we get back to racing. So I'm using this year purely as a benchmark to see where I'm at. I think my body needed a bit of a rest anyway. So yeah, it is what it is. But my running's been all right. But nothing else to do. I've been locked down other than bloody run. Yeah.
I know you feel like that sometimes as we get older, because I'm the other side of 50 than what you are. So, we've spoken and I use the CBD oil for my recovery. But up until last year, I was very much struggling with running. I had a long period off where I was injured, and I've come back, and now I'm probably running as fast as I ever have in the last 10 years, purely because of that rest.
Still there.
Yeah, and my recovery is right. So even though you've had 8 weeks off, I'm pretty certain that 2 or 3 weeks back of training, and you'll be right back on the money.
Oh yeah, I know. My first couple of weeks back will be full of delayed onset muscle strain. I'll question my life every time I go out for a run for the first few times. But I know it'll come back. But it's really interesting because I've struggled with piriformis syndrome last year as well because of the training. It's gone. So it just shows you sometimes you just need to rest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, do you know what? And if it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it does, great. I think lockdown's taught me quite a few things about myself. And one of them is, don't get me wrong. I am a competitive runner. I come from a sports sprinting background where you only came first. You didn't get a prize for even you're second. No, I don't want to be second. I only joined to win. So I have that mindset anyway. And that's kind of a lot of things I do in life. But I suppose it's just kind of taught me that I am running a business. I work 10-hour days. I've got a home. I've got 2 kids that I've been homeschooling, which has been fun with one of them doing GCSEs. I'm a wife. Everything I do. And I try and train. There's only so much I can do. It's just life, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Are you say you're competitive there? You started off doing Pretty Mudder, which wasn't competitive mudder, and
Oh, it bored me to death. We're doing me head in all these women's like, get out of my way. What do you mean you're not running, dickheads? What's it? They really annoyed me. How horrible is that?
Well, I guess it's not, if you're competitive, it's not. You know,
I don't understand, why would you turn, it's like park run. I love park run because it's all encompassing. It doesn't matter whether you do it in 13 minutes or 4 hours, you've all run 5K. And I think the community spirit is amazing. And some people go just to do the park run on a Saturday morning, and they're chipping away at the time and they're getting themselves fit. For me, I want to do a good time, but that's my training.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why you would rock up to a race and not. But that's why I run competitive waves. If I ran in the normal waves in OCR, I think it would. Like, some of my friends love the messing around and the laugh. One, I get too cold, and two, I'm just like, oh, can we just get on with it? But that's my personality. That's just the way I am. It's like when we did, is it Mud 7?
Yeah.
And I remember running around, and there were people with inflatables, and there's a picture of me going, oh God, what are you all doing, you weird? Just, why are you dressed up, you freaks? And I don't get it, but that's not that that's wrong for them. I love seeing everybody dressed up and having a laugh. It's just not me.
How does Phil feel then when you get on that start line, then you go and leave him because you're much faster than Phil? How does he feel with that?
He does all right, actually. Well, he's the first race that we ever did together. We did a suffering race. That was the first one we did together. I've got some funny stories about that one. But yeah, we refer to it, Friday night is usually date night, where we'll go for a run before tea, and we call it the Benny Hill. So it's like Benny Hill, Phil chasing the girls. You know? Like Phil, yeah. However, he's done some phenomenal running in January where I was kind of resting. He was like Forrest Gump. I even bought him a Forrest Gump hat. So I don't know. I reckon he'd give me a good run for my money at the moment.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Tell us about
strong though, Phil.
Tell us about suffering then. You said then you've got a great story about suffering. We need to hear that.
Yeah, so I've done suffering before, and it was cold and horrible, and I got hypothermia again. Luckily, my mate took me down and drove me back. That standard cold. And then Phil I kept saying to him, come and do this OCR, and he never ran anything. So we eventually, what had he done? Yeah, so I booked him on ETM. He said, I want to do ETM. I said, Phil, you can't even run 5 kilometres. Seriously, mate. Anyway, Phil went out for a run and did 12. He went from 0 to hero, did 12 kilometres. And while he was out, I was going, oh, I was absolute bitch then. I'll just book him on ETM. It's a year to train. So he come back going, ha, 2 fingers up to you, I've done 12 kilometres. And I went, I bought you an ETM ticket, you'll have to train. So we both done our own thing and met in the middle. So we said, well, I better do a bit of a test. I've never done a race before. So the next one happened to be the suffering race. Luckily, it was in the summer. And we just ran together. Anyway, it was really nice. But one of the slides that we went down, they put the neoprene sheet down and then they cover it in washing up liquid.
Yeah.
Well, they just laid a load of washing up liquid. I'd gone down it in my leggings that were damp, from being in the last pond.
Yeah.
And basically collected all the washing up liquid in my leggings. So while I'm running, my legs are rubbing together, and I was like, my thighs were like a bubble machine. And all these bubbles were billowing out of my arse. Anyway, Phil's like that, wiping them off, laughing his head off, wiping all these bubbles that kept coming out my arse. Just as this bloke came past and tried to have a go, and I went, excuse me, mate, that's my husband. It's not a free-for-all. She's just not doing this for everybody's enjoyment. Yeah, probably gave me a good... So it's a helping hand, not a helping feel. I don't think he understood that one.
I've got visions now. Everyone chasing you and suffering, trying to clean the bubbles off your backside.
Oh, it's another obstacle. Michelle's just created bubbles. Yeah, it went on for ages till I got in the next pond. Just bubbles were coming out my arse.
Oh.
So... Yeah, I don't know what I thought. I think he must have thought it was gift week. Ooh, can have a good feel of her bum,
Oh God, I need to compose myself now because I've just got visions of that just as we're talking now, and I'm gonna go look through the suffering pictures. I'm sure there's a suffering picture now.
My bubbly bum. Yeah. There you are. There's an obstacle to put overload.
Yeah. We have the slide at overload, and
Ace.
And we have 2 slides. We have the vertical one, and then we have the grass bank one, as you know. And the grass bank one, I don't know if you were there about 3 years ago. We had this grass bank one, and we've got this big, massive. The tank had come the night before, and filled the big tank of water. When I say gallons, it holds hundreds of gallons, not 1 or 2. And someone had gone and bloody emptied it out the night before. Bastards. While we were all sleeping, somebody who was at the race So then we're having to get the tank in the next day, and I think the Elite Wave missed it or something. But
I think I remember going down one slide one year, and we didn't slide, we kind of stuck.
Yeah.
And it was like
that was probably the year,
yeah. And I remember, when you see kids learning to bum shuffle, we all just looked a bit like that. We're all bum shuffling along this, like, oh Jesus, my race time's going, because we're all bum shuffling down. It was hilarious.
I remember James Rushton, I think he was leading, and he went to do a head first slide, and he dove on it, and his chest hit it, and he just went, stop. And there was no movement. And the marshals had been saying to him, don't slide, run, don't slide, run. He decided he was going to go down. Which was
massive friction burn on his chest. Yeah.
The things we do. Luckily, no one was hurt in the testing of these things.
Of course, yes. Just our pride. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you live in the Midlands as well, which if you go back...
Oh, no, I'm a northern lass.
You what, sorry?
I'm a northern lass.
Yeah, but it's I call us Midlands because northern to me, even though I'm in Yorkshire and people say Yorkshire's north to me, we need to go up into Scotland.
Fair enough. No, I'm a Mancunian. Yeah. Manchester, so best city in the world.
You're on a level par with me, aren't you? Right across the border. You're the opposite side. You're the red rose and I'm the white rose.
Oh yeah, we should be at loggerheads now, shouldn't we?
Yeah. We should be having swords out. To anyone of the Americans who are listening, there was a war back in 03.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. The War of the Roses.
The medieval times when the Yorkshire Rose, which is white, fought the Lancashire Rose, which is red, and I don't even know who won, to be honest.
Not a bloody clue. As long as we can still eat in Yorkshire puddings, I'll be fine.
That's right. So Yorkshire puddings went over to Lancashire, and Lancashire hot pot came over to
happy
Yorkshire.
Days. All the Americans are now Googling, what's a Yorkshire pudding?
What's a Yorkshire pudding, and what's a Lancashire hot pot? Oh, absolutely brilliant. I hope someone messages me and tells me from America, because that would be... And we've actually got... some Belgian listeners and some Russian listeners, and this week we even had one from Jordan.
Oh,
coming from all over. So if any of those want to message me and tell me what they think of Yorkshire puddings before they look it up, absolutely fantastic.
I'll have to make Lancashire hot pot now and then stick it on.
So what I was going to say, because we're in that catchment area of sort of we're not south, so we're above London and we're below Scotland. Over the years, we've had some amazing events in that big area. We don't get some good, but there's lots of independents.
I
know there's one that you love. I mean, talk to me about Bog Commander, because you love Bog Commander.
Bloody love Bog Commander. It's just everything it should be. It's old school. It's a farmer's field. And it's the terrain that kills you, not the obstacles. I mean, the hill at the end. And I can actually do that now with one breath. I can literally just keep going the whole way up. I love Bog Commander. 1 minute you're running along, next minute you've literally disappeared in a bog up to your neck. It's rough and ready. It's cheap as chips, and you get a decent bacon barm at the end of it. I bloody love it. But I've got friends who... I told a couple of my friends to come along, and they basically couldn't speak to me afterwards. They were like, what have you made us do? And I'm like, it's the best race in the world. It's amazing. It's just the hill at the end kills people, and the bogs. If you're not used to running in dirty bogs, but it's ace. It's everything that a race should be. The atmosphere is fantastic. Yeah, bloody brilliant. Love it. Again, cheap as chips. It's a good fashioned, old fashioned OCR. There's no bells and whistles with it. It is what it is, and it's great.
It is. It is. You're right. It's one of them things and they keep adding onto it every year. They don't.
Yeah, it was fab. Last
they don't
year,
try and jump a year and say, right, we're going to go from a fell run with a few obstacles to an out-and-out world champion obstacle course race. Yeah. They build gradually with time, and they do things right. I mean, I was down there not long since looking at the zip lines they're going to install. I mean, that's going to be amazing. The only thing
I can't cope with is the space hoppers. I don't do shit like that. Space hoppers and hook a duck. What? But that's
But that's part of the fun.
It's not. See, I'm a miserable old bugger, aren't I? Why are you making me do hook a duck? Do I get a goldfish? But that's the only bit.
Of people on space hoppers is that what we live for. Those are the pictures we live for as race directors. You can't beat the space hoppers. And I always remember going down to people are going to shout at me now for mentioning this race, because it's gone and it ran off with people's money. But Judgment Day, I went down to Judgment Day down at Pippingford, and the best obstacle they had, it was like an elastic band, and you put it around your feet, and you had to run about I'd say about a quarter of a kilometre, maybe half a kilometre, with it around your feet. So your feet could only go
so far,
and they couldn't go no further.
Hilarious. So
And
it's a bit like oh my God, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but it was the best obstacle there, and everyone was going, oh, it's not an obstacle. But when they finished, everyone was just talking about it. Oh, do you remember that elastic band we put round his feet? And it was like, and it wasn't over a flat terrain, over grass. It was over, hilly terrain and roots and things like that. Great little obstacle, but I could imagine that in the World Championship. I'm coming round and you can see Ryan Atkins and Jonathan Alban and Hunter like with all little tiny feet going like this.
Well, how many of our European counterparts would cheat, cut it, and then stick it back together at the end?
Oh, yes. That was being noticed in the championships, wasn't it? I did see a couple of posts about that and things like that.
Oh, sorry, that was my dig then, wasn't it? So
no, I think everyone's entitled to it, because sometimes we do know that I'd like OCR to be like golf. In golf, you watch the golfers on telly. I don't know if you watch golf, but the golfers on telly, the professionals, they don't know the rules inside out, but they know the majority of rules. And you see golfers, so honest, they actually call a foul shot on themselves. No one else has seen it. They go, the ball moved. That's one extra stroke for me.
Yeah.
I'd be thinking, what? But you never touched the ball. It just moved, and they do it. And I'd love all sport to be that honest. Unfortunately, it's not.
Yeah, and I think on the other side of it, you get people who take it far too seriously. At the end of the day, we're all weekend warriors. You get the odd exceptions who are semi-pro. I get that, like the Natasha Mansfield and the Jade Skillings of the world. You get these who are unbelievable athletes. The majority of us else are just weekend warriors, aren't we, really? Yeah. And, if you're taking it that seriously, don't get me wrong, I rock up to win. I want to win. But I'm not going to do it by foul means. You know what I mean? It's just a case of getting on with it. So
and this fetches nicely into CBD, actually. I wasn't going to go into it this early, but we'll go into it now because, we're talking there about cheating in some way, shape or form. People would turn around and say CBD is a way of cheating. I have to disagree, but I'm going to get your opinion on it in a second. Because it does help. It does help. I take it. Since we spoke 5 months ago, I think I've ordered 3 bottles off you. I take it. I don't take the one. We'll come to that.
We'll explain it. Yeah.
I don't take the ones that are going to get me high and give me the.
None of them get you high, unfortunately. And one of my sayings: if you want to get high, I am not your guy. So, and I'll explain the science behind it, but and why it isn't an advantage, and I'll explain the reasons why. Yeah.
So for me, it just helps me recover from my runs quicker. It helps me relax. But you talk to me. So first of all, let's go back to basics. So CBD, what is it?
CBD means cannabidiol, which is it comes from a species of cannabis plant, but not cannabis as you know it. It's classed as industrial hemp. So to start with the difference, so people think that it's illegal, it's not. So you've got the cannabis species. Think of it like roses. There's loads of different colours and flavours, and each of them do slightly different things. And they have what's called a different cannabinoid profile, which means some of them relax, some of them get you high, some of them help with pain. So industrial hemp, and this is where the understanding of it is. So cannabis is made, there's 2 different offshoots. One, if the THC, that's tetrahydrocannabidiol, that's the bit that gets you high, is above 0.2% in the UK, it's classed as cannabis and is illegal. That's at cultivation, so when it's grown. To be made into industrial hemp, it has to be below 0.2% of THC. And then it can be made into CBD, which has to have an even lower amount of THC. So per bottle or per container of any CBD product has to be less than 1 milligram per container. Now, to put that into context, for an average person to get high, you need 10 to 20 milligrams of THC in one sitting. In one of the bottles that will last you about a month, there's less than 1 milligram. So you're taking a tenth, and you'll take that over a month. So it's like pouring a glass of wine, taking out a tenth of it into a thimble and then dipping your finger in it once a day and saying, I'm going to get drunk. It doesn't work like that. In an average...
So, no, just one second before we go further. So because of that, if you're drug tested, it doesn't show up on your drug tests.
So this is where we have to be really careful. So in WADA, World Anti-Doping Association, they will not, and like the police, the services, the armed forces, they have a complete zero no tolerance, even though the Misuse of Drugs license said that you can legally take and I can legally sell it. It has to be below this 1 milligram. When they drugs test, they usually drugs test for THC. That's the bit that gets you high, even though it has unbelievable health properties.
Yeah.
So, so if you're an athlete that gets drug tested or in your job, you need to take what's called THC-free CBD, which I have as well.
Which is the one I take, isn't it?
Yeah, and I've got another one as well now. So right. I have 2 of those products. So, or you're still getting all the cannabinoids that do all these other wonderful things. You're just removing the bit that is drugs tested. However, we always caveat it with, so for racing, it is now WADA approved. Most race people take it. Most of the top level athletes take a form of CBD, and they have to make sure it's what's known as an isolate. So that's got no THC in it. However, a microscopic dose, and if you have that in your job, so let's say you're a train driver and you're getting drugs tested, you have to make sure you're taking THC free.
Yeah.
However, if you're taking the full spectrum, which is still deemed as a better quality product and still has that microscopic dosing, because the THC has amazing health benefits, you won't get high because you're taking a microscopic dose. It will not make you feel drugged, sedated. You can still drive, you can still operate machinery. It's just if your job has that. And I always say to people, please check with your employer. Be very open and honest. I can provide you lab reports. So if you're not getting drugs tested, it's fine. But if your job or your race depends on it, you need a THC-free one. And I have 2 products that fall into that.
And that's why I take it, because I get drug tested on a regular basis. Not because I'm a druggie, but just because
of your job. Yeah, teachers. There's loads of jobs that it falls into.
And while I've been taking it, I've had 2, and they've both come back as negative. So.
Yeah,
you know.
and the thing is, if you did show up positive, I can send you, which is on the lab, my website, I can send you the lab report to say, this is what I've bought, here's the lab report, I'll stop taking it, drugs test me in 2 or 3 days' time. So it should never, but for example, if you were to have poppy seeds, you could show a false positive for a poppy seed and opioids. But in certain things, they have because they say that it enhances your bodily functions and all this. It doesn't really. All it does is help with recovery. So every decent athlete has an amazing recovery strategy, whether that's hydration, people take electrolytes, they take cold water showers, we've discussed, you eat certain proteins, you take certain supplements. Everybody takes a supplement to help with their recovery. Are they cheating? No. So all that CBD is a plant-based product with that taken out. All it's doing is aiding your recovery as much as you would take vitamin D and zinc and vitamin C. It's just aiding your recovery. It is no way, in any way, shape, form, or cheat. If it is, I should be podiuming with the elites, because I'd take it by the gallon.
So we've got 2 main products then. We've got the one, the THC full spectrum, and then we've got THC free.
Yeah.
So we know the full spectrum works better than the other one, yeah?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying? Fantastic. Yeah. So I'm getting that bit right. So what do they actually do? So if everyone's which one it is, what do they actually do to your body to make you perform better?
So what happens, I'll have to kind of go back to basics. So you have what's called an endocannabinoid system. Every mammal has this endocannabinoid system. We produce our own natural cannabinoids, and they're responsible for mood. They're responsible for your regulator system. So your serotonin, your stress hormones, and generally all up regulators. They're responsible for temperature control, appetite, sleep, all these amazing things, pain and inflammation. So pain perception and inflammation. And most of these systems it works with are upregulators. So if you bash your elbow, your body sends the signals, pain signal, need to send some inflammation, do what I need to do. Hormones, it links into your endocrine system, which is your 9 glands, which is all your hormones. They're normally all on, but your endocannabinoid system helps make sure that they balance and only produce what they need to produce when they need to produce it. Most people produce too much. We hear of so many autoimmune conditions. You're overproducing inflammation. We hear of people who don't sleep because they're producing too much cortisol, anxiety, all these kind of things. And all your endocannabinoid system does, if it's functioning correctly, it allows your body to hit this homeostasis where your body works beautifully.
Yeah.
However, as we age, as we have environmental and stress factors, that system comes out of kilter and you start getting issues, or you don't look after yourself. Who has the perfect diet, perfect sleep? I like a pint of wine and a cheeseburger, but I also like, you know, healthy food at the same time. And also as our environment change, the quality of our food is not as good as it used to be 50, 60 years ago. So what happens when you take CBD? It replicates your own natural cannabinoids. They're not sure whether it tops your natural cannabinoid system up or it keeps your natural cannabinoids in your system longer. But what they do know, it has a positive effect. So you have this feeling. People mainly report feeling of well-being. They sleep better, they're calmer because it's down-regulating all those systems. Pain perception's reduced, inflammation's reduced. If you start making all those things better, your body will function and thrive better. So that's the science behind it. When you take CBD, it's very much an individual journey. We start everybody on 25 milligrams, but depending on your metabolic rate and your weight and your condition will depend on how much you need. So most athletes or people who run need a much higher dose than somebody who's sedentary, because you're burning it through your system. Like with anything, you burn it through. So you start on a certain amount and then you add it up to you find this dose that works. And also, you don't take that dose daily. Some days you're up and down depending on how much you've trained, how your sleep's been, have you recovered. So if like a load of them have done, is it the Wolfpack run? They've done like a zillion miles this weekend. You would be taking a stonking amount the next 3 or 4 days. When you're back to normal training, you drop it right down again. If you've had a day of major stress, you may need a little bit more. But if you're on holiday and you're nice and relaxed, you'll take less. So you use it almost like painkillers, in the sense that if you've got a toothache, you know that you need to take one, paracetamol. But if you've got a really bad toothache, you might need to take them every 4 hours. So that's what you can do with CBD. For athletes, my recommendation is if you get pre-race nerves, you take a small amount, about 10 milligrams. It can calm your system, get rid of pre-race nerves. It's also shown to help with focus. So great for racing when you need to laser focus in.
And would you do that a couple of hours before or straight before
about
a race?
30 minutes before a race. And that's why the water soluble one's great, because you can put it in your drink, your pre-race drink that I have all my bits of carbs in there and all your electrolytes. You could stick it in that. And a lot of my ultra runners put it in the camel pack, so it's keeping the body calm while they're racing. But mainly for recovery afterwards, it helps your body reduce the inflammation, it helps you sleep better, it gets rid of the cortisol of the stress that you've put on your body, not just mental but physical stress. And you can do that by taking it. You can have baths. I've got creams and lotions and potions that you can use. And that's what I do. I do a consultation with you and I explain how it will work for you. And rather than just going, oh, I know what I'm taking, I'm going. And also after a week or two, phone me. I will go through. I've got 5 years of knowledge of taking this stuff. And I probably speak to 5 or 6 clients a day. So I've got a wealth of knowledge there that I can offer people. And that's the thing that probably cuts me apart from the big boys, really. It is me and my little independent business.
It is. How did you find out about it yourself?
Through my own research for mental health. I make no bones about that. I've struggled with anxiety, chronic OCD and PTSD for many years. And part of my health and wellness journey is I discovered this CBD stuff before, about five years ago. And then I started doing a side hustle. There's quite a few people. I got a brand that I thought was great. It was an American brand, because I still think the best stuff's coming out of America. And I was basically side hustling. I was making 2 or 3 quid up per bottle, but it was sharing the love with everybody, with all the runners and my mates. Oh, you've got to try this, it's helped. But the more research I did, I realised that the products that I thought was a full spectrum product wasn't it. It was an isolate. Sorry, that's my teenage boy, lovely lockdown, screaming at his Xbox. Oh, lockdown life, it's ace, isn't it? I also found that that my knowledge was getting more and more wider, and because I research everything that I do, I'm a bit of a science geek, and because I come from a sports and fitness background, I research everything, and the knowledge of the body, because I've been around these professionals all my life, is pretty good. And the stuff they were telling was just rubbish. And then people in the UK weren't following legislation, and were not allowed to make medical claims, were not allowed to sell pet products. There is actual legislation out there. People weren't following it, and it got me really angry. So my husband said to me about 2 years ago now, he just said, either you have to accept the market is and keep doing your little side hustle on top of your normal day job, or do something about it. And Phil was not that polite, if you can imagine. Do me head in, woman. Do me head in, fucking shut up. So I thought, right, you're on. So I invested a load of money. Took me a year to create my brand, and I think I've got one of the best CBDs in the UK. And it also comes backed up with me as an independent, my knowledge, and that's what you get from me. And I will give you honest advice. I also will tell you if it's not right for you.
Yeah.
And again, people have tried it, and one of my pet hates is when people try to go, it didn't work for me. You've got to try it for 6 weeks, and sometimes you need to take quite a higher dose. I'm 8 stone wet through. I take about 40 to 50 milligrams a day. So somebody who's heavier, may have to take 70 milligrams. Some people may be fine on 20. You've got to play around with that dose. And to be fair, we say 6 weeks, but if you were to go on a course of, let's say, vitamin C tablets, you would not expect to go on them for a week and go, oh, I feel better. It's that long process. Certain things you will notice immediately, like sleep, stress, and your recovery. But on a longer term, if you've got other health conditions, we need to take that into account as well. And with all the love in the world, if you've got chronic arthritis in your knee, for example, and you're on a plethora of opioids, taking a plant-based product will help you reduce some of those opioids that you may be taking, but it ain't going to get rid of your chronic knee problem. We've got to be a realist at the end of the day, and it's about managing people's expectations with it. I've had some great results with clients, some unbelievable results, but I've also had people who I think expect they're going to take on the world with it, and it's plant-based. So it's part of healthy eating, supplements, exercise, nutrition, eating correctly. It's part of that health and wellness product. It's not a standalone, and it's certainly not instead of medication. It's as well as, and I always try and make people aware of that.
Yeah, I mean, we're not taking, I don't mind telling anyone, like I say, but I take mine for recovery, and I notice when I don't take it. So, I mean, this year I've run every day so far this year, a minimum of 4 miles every day this year, and every day I've come home and I've run, and I only take 5 droplets. So, in the pump thing, I only take 5. I don't know how much that is, but I know it's what works for me.
Yeah, so you're on the water soluble one. So, so that one has a better bioavailability because it's water soluble, because our bodies are main water. So you're only taking probably 12.5 milligrams, but it has something like 10 times better bioavailability. So that's equivalent possibly of you taking 100 and odd milligrams.
Right.
But you're only getting CBD, you're not getting all the other things. But if that works for you, we've found what works for you.
Yeah, it does. Because if I then go and do a run and I don't take it that day, the following day, I tend to be, and it's not because I've thought about it. I'm not thinking, oh, I didn't take it yesterday. I'm thinking, oh, I'm running. I'm thinking, oh, my knee hurts, my ankle hurts. And I'm getting that pain that I used to get, and I think, hey, you know what? I never took my CBD yesterday. Yeah.
Well, it's to do with, so CBD links also into your neurotransmitters. It's to do with the signalling process. And this is why it can take up to 6 weeks, because it's like when you go to the gym and you pick up and do a bicep curl. The first time you do it, I can feel my muscle working. After 6 weeks, you've gone up so many weights because your muscles got stronger and it's got better. It's like riding a bike. You get better and better and better at doing something almost subconsciously. So CBD works with that signaling process, and they talk about it connecting. You've heard of the lock and key that everybody goes on about. It's a really silly way of, it isn't a silly way of describing it, but what happens is it sends a signal to your receptor, and I'm not sure whether it's your receptive or it produces more, and it's about that signaling process getting clearer and clearer, and that's why you've got to give it 6 weeks. Some people it can take 8 weeks. Some people, their signaling process goes, oh, I know what I'm doing here. I also find people that almost have a really clean way of living seem to get results a lot quicker. But again, everybody's pain condition is different. Everybody's body is different. And there isn't, because it is quite a fledgling, I say it's been going about 30, 40 years since they discovered it. In real terms, there has been a lot of scientific research, but not that much. And more is emerging. And to be fair, the results are getting ridiculous. I think I just posted something on my group, how it's helping with COVID, with the lungs, and how it's helping certain proteins and enzymes, helping reduce inflammation in the lungs. And again, the scientific evidence, proper science, not just by some, merely shed.
Not by Sheila Down Road. And
Sheila Down Road, who won't have injection, but she's just had her fillers done. Yeah, proper doctors.
We don't mean there is a Sheila Down Road, by the way.
Sorry, Sheila, you know what I'm saying, don't you? I'm not having that. I'm not putting that in my body. You've just bought 45 dog burgers for £3 and you're worried about a vaccine that's been made by scientists. Sorry, that's my dig at the. Anyway, everybody can do what they want with the vaccine, but it's shown it's shown that it will help with inflammation. I've got loads of clients who are struggling with long COVID, and it's helped them because, again, it's reducing the inflammation. And I've noticed people who are struggling with long COVID, it seems to have triggered some sort of mad inflammation, like an autoimmune condition. It fascinates me. I'm going off at tangents, aren't I? Because it helps with so many things. Skin issues, migraine, epilepsy, helps with stomach problems, IBS. The list goes on and on, because it works with your whole body. It's sorry, I'm going off on one, aren't I?
No, it's I can see the passion that's coming through, and that's, no end. So there's nothing wrong with that. One of the things I want to ask you though is, how do you ensure, because you source your own products? Tell me if I'm wrong here, but my understanding is that you source your own products. Yeah. You actually even print your own labels, if I'm right.
I was doing new labels the other day. So I've got a really good manufacturer. So the raw CBD comes from the US. So it comes from Colorado. It comes in a raw format. So this is where people talk about percentages that don't understand the industry. When they've got the industrial hemp and they get it, they basically use CO2 and distillation to make it into this golden liquid, and that's raw CBD. So raw CBD in its own can taste pretty grim, but then it goes through different processes to remove the terpenes and the waxes, stuff that you don't need, the chlorophyll. Those are the bits that taste horrible. CBD should not taste bad. If you've got a CBD that's black or green or tastes disgusting, it's known as a it's not had heat applied, so it's a raw CBD and can be very unstable. So what you're buying will degrade over time. Mine's a golden CBD.
So that's a health notice there for anyone who's using CBD. If it's black or green, check it out. Yeah. Because I'm sure there's people buying CBD who don't know what they're buying. If
you want to lick your tongue, if you need to rinse your tongue afterwards, it's got chlorophyll in it. It'll taste absolutely disgusting. It'll have all the waxes. You don't need that in. You'll have the purists that will tell you need that. You don't. You want CBD. You want the cannabinoids in it. But to have what's called a golden CBD takes another level of distillation. And that's where it becomes very expensive. So mine is it's like the Grand Cru. The other stuff, they'll still charge you the same amount, but it's like the cheapest chip stuff. Yeah. So you have that, mate. I've gone off at a complete tangent. I forgot even what the question was now. We talked about
how you source yours. So
the raw CBD comes in and then it's tested, and we have a certificate of analysis to show the purity of it. And mine's 98% pure. From that, so this is when they talk about percentages, it's then made into CBD as you're buying in 500 milligrams, 1,000 milligrams. But people still refer to it as 5%, 10%. That they've got that mixed up with before it's been processed.
Right.
So what you want to know when you're buying a bottle is how many milligrams of CBD you're buying. If you buy a 20% CBD, you are not buying something that's stronger. You are buying something that's more concentrated. It just means you've bought 2,000 milligrams. If you bought 10%, it's not weaker. You've bought 1,000 milligrams. You need 25 milligrams of CBD a day, and you build up from there. So it's not stronger. It means to get 25 milligrams, you need less volume. Right. So I describe it as fabric conditioner. You can buy your big vat of fabric conditioner, and you need to put a gallon into your wash, or you can buy the super concentrated one.
Yeah.
That's all that you're doing. So the 500 milligram, you need 10 drops. The 1,000, you need 5 drops, and the 2,000, you need 2 to 3 drops to get 25 milligrams. It's basic maths. You are not buying a stronger. Our strongest one. It's better value for money. You need 25 milligrams or upwards from there. So that's a sort of a thing that people need to be aware of. Don't be fooled. And somebody saying, "Oh, I've got arthritis. Oh, you need the 10%." They've just upsold you. That's all that they've done.
Right.
So there's a few things you need to look for. Sorry,
upselling. That's an old sales trick, that, isn't it? Upselling.
I come from a sales background. It's upselling.
Sales background. That's what they all try and do.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing.
These trainers, do you want these insoles to go with them?
Yeah. So all that I do is I say 500 costs this, 1,000 costs that. How long do you want it to last? It's up to you. How long you want to dip your toe in the water and how much you want to spend. I don't know what somebody's budget is. £30 to somebody may be an absolute enormous amount of money, and £80 for somebody else may be a drop in the ocean. So it's about making sure they're getting value, and that's what I pride myself on, is the ethics with my company. Every product is lab tested. I get it lab tested every year. I've just had them redone. In fact, I'm having them redone again because some new legislation coming in on the 1st of April. Everything I do is above board and transparent. Not many people and companies can say that. So yeah, and then I've had a load of products made that suit me. I don't sell gummies because I don't agree with them. They're just a fad. you want to take CBD, you take it. I don't want my kids getting hold of them and walloping them down. Not that it will do them any harm, but we're not allowed to sell it to under 18s. No. I don't sell vape products. I don't agree with vaping. The products, even down to like, there's loads of skincare products that you can get. You don't need to buy another skincare product. The natural CBD is so natural, you can put it into your normal face cream. So all these girls out there that are buying CBD eye cream, use your normal favourite eye cream and then just put 1 or 2 drops of your natural CBD, rub it in and put that on your face. Another one, some of the big cosmetic brands, I won't mention names, are selling CBD cream. It's not. When you look on it, you look on the ingredients on the back, it says cannabis sativa seed oil. You are buying hemp seed oil, which means you are buying hemp. You are not buying CBD. It has to state how many milligrams are on there. They can't provide you a lab report and they cannot tell you how many milligrams are in there. You are buying hemp oil. And don't buy off Amazon. You are not allowed to sell CBD on Amazon. It is hemp oil that you are buying. And if your company tells you they can take PayPal, they're doing it illegally. We're not allowed to take PayPal either. So top tips for finding your decent CBD supplier.
Yeah, that's great. So anyone who doesn't want to come to you, and I would recommend anyone does come to you, because
thank you.
I mean, the best thing that I thought when I was looking into it, and I was going to buy off Amazon and all these places, and I knew you did it, so I actually contacted you, and you were over the moon to speak to me and explain to me. And I
love it. That's the best part of my job. I hate doing accounts and Facebook marketing and all that. I want to talk to my clients.
Yeah, and one of the things I enjoyed was at the end, you never said to me, "You need this." You just said, "This would suit you best, but have a look. Go online. It's here." You know, you sent me a link to it, but you never forced it down me. There was no hard sell, and
You know what? I'd love you to have all the products because each one lends themselves to different things. Like the muscle cream is great for rubbing on your legs afterwards. I have bath salts. People love a bath. I mean, I've got lovely Linda. She's just done, Linda Johnson, who's incredible. She's one of my ambassadors and she adores the bath salts. I've got CBD tea. Some people like a tea afterwards. I've got balms that you can put on, which are great for dry skin. I've got products that lend themselves. And again, people saying, "Oh, I might buy the cream." Well, actually, if you've got a favourite muscle cream, put a couple of drops of the CBD in. Use that as part of your if you have a massage, give your natural CBD to your masseuse whenever we can get back to having massages done again to your therapist. Get them to put some in the carrier oil. Save yourself some money. I'm a northern lass. You want to save money, don't you?
Yeah, we do. We all want to save a bit of money.
Absolutely.
I'm sure it's going to be a lot more healthy for you and things like that anyway. So, So, no, that's fantastic. That it reminds me, I need to put my new order in for some.
You need to try the lemon one as well, because I've got a new lemon THC-free one now. But if yours works, stick with what works. And I say that to people, if you found a brand that works, stick with it. If you want to give me a whirl, give me a whirl. I can promise you mine. The one that you've got does have a bitter taste to it, unfortunately, because it's a water soluble. My other ones, believe me, you are some of the best tasting CBD in the country.
I know you said it got a bit of taste of the one I use, but I don't see it. I can just taste it and it goes straight down. But you're right, it doesn't taste sweet. It doesn't taste like chocolate or beer or anything like that.
The water soluble is the only one that you can add to water. No, because I've heard a lot of people saying adding the CBD to tea and coffee. If you have got an oil-based CBD, do not add it to your drink. You have basically ballsed up the bioavailability. The minute you put in something hot, it will ruin the bioavailability. You've basically just poured your money down the drain. If you're using an oil, it needs to go under your tongue and hold it for a minute, because that's how it absorbs into your bloodstream. Your water soluble, you can razz it straight down because it will absorb into your body. Your water soluble is a really good quick product. So that's just for people who need lessons in taking it. That's all.
Yeah. No, thank you for that, Michelle. And I'm sure people, and we'll put the link in 20 Rules interested.
I didn't want it to turn into a sales pitch. It's just I'll get so cross with people buying stuff and then going, "Oh, it didn't work," like the Holland and Barretts of the world. I mean, I'm not allowed to advertise on Facebook yet. Holland and Barrett are. I have to jump through hoops to get my merchant facility. It's one rule for what I'm not allowed to advertise on Facebook. There's some really strict rules out there that I have to follow, but that's what I do. I do everything correctly, but.
A lot of athletes are using it now, and that's one of the reasons why I want to get you on the show to explain it, because, I never knew the difference between the black and the green, and the difference between yours and everything else until I spoke to you. Yeah. And I'm sure there's other people out there that are researching it in some ways, but the way they're researching it is probably through maybe Wikipedia or, as we said,
so much misinformation out there, even
on
down
Facebook.
You're not allowed to advise people to take more than 70 milligrams. I know there's a high profile company at the moment who are doing these shots of 100 milligrams. It's actually now deemed as it's against MHRA regulations. You know, it's the fact that not only do I need to understand the products and how CBD works with your body, I need to know all the legislation, and I need to keep my customers safe. There's some new legislation coming out on the 1st of April. My company's got to have a couple of tweaks and changes made, so I'm still compliant. And that's what I pride myself on. And I won't blow smoke up your what's it. I will tell you as it is and what you need. And again,
true Northern lass.
Yeah.
That's a true Northern lass. Says it like it is.
Yeah. Won't blow smoke up your ass. I'll tell you as it is.
My wife's been buying T-shirts off eBay this month. She likes the Yorkshire saying, so we've got E-bar gum, what's up spadge, and things like that. People are going to be looking. I can see if we go to America and we have pictures of these T-shirts in on Instagram, and I'm putting them into America. The Americans are not even going to know what they mean.
I'll have to take, just loads. God, there's loads that you say. It's like, can you lend us some chuddy? I mean, you'd probably know what I mean by that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's a bit of chewing gum.
Yeah, but chuddy. What else do you say? Oh, we have some mad sayings, don't we? And just how we can swear to people, and it's like, oh, kid. Yeah. And the other favourite is best mate over there, innit? Now, you know, that ain't my best mate, but somebody else will go, is that your best friend? No. Best mate's over there, your best mate's looking at you. You know.
Catherine Tate should have made a show. I mean, Catherine Tate was probably one of the best comedians I've ever seen when she did some of her comedy. But she should have done it on the Yorkshire people, because she could have completely... The Yorkshire and Lancashire people up here, she could have taken the mickey out of us for years on end.
Brilliant. Honestly, I'll have to send you a picture. My mum's got one of all the Mancunian sayings. And if you asked anybody else, they wouldn't have a clue.
No.
What we were saying.
Instagram. We need that on Instagram so people can see all the Mancunian sayings.
I'll find it.
One of the things I was talking about was this week I was speaking to Becky Vendel. Do you know Becky Vendel?
Oh, she's a lovely girl, yes.
Yeah, beautiful girl. She's now the managing director of UKOSF and things like that. And she's there's a webinar this week. I've actually posted it today on my Facebook page for women to get more women into OCR. You know, a bit like yourself, you didn't know about it until 5 years ago.
Didn't have a clue.
And things like that. But what would you say to any female out there that may be contemplating joining the ranks?
I just think you go at your own level. You don't have to be running in ridiculous times like I do. And you know what? You don't have to do every obstacle. The biggest thing that it taught me is what I can do with my body and my mind. My biggest thing was my mind. For my mental health, it's been incredible. The fact that I ran around this thing of something that I've never done before, and actually what my body and mind can achieve. And I've made some amazing friends along the way. It's made me it's opened up a whole new level of friendship and I can do that. And I think it's ignited something from when I was a kid. I feel like you can be a kid again. Who at our age goes sliding down a slide with bubbles coming out your arse and, you know, doing a roly-poly and jumping into a lake, you know, and I'm allowed to get filthy and muddy. In fact, I remember when the boys were at primary school, there was one year when the school field just turned into a mud pit and the kids would come home filthy and they said, "You're the only mum that's not moaned about mud." And I went, and how can I moan about rolling in mud? And I would far rather the kids come back covered in it. There's loads of science to show that, you know, being in nature and touching mud, it earths you, it gets rid of static and stress. It's shown that it's more beneficial for your mental health, exercising outside. And do you know what? If you do it, you might go, "Oh, not doing that again." You might actually go, "Bloody hell, that's amazing. Look what I've achieved." I must say, when I used to go into the office back in the day and I come in with my medal, you go, "Oh, look what I've got this medal, I came third." And you'd go, "Oh yeah, did you see what was on EastEnders last night?" And you'd feel hurt and scarred. "Do you know what I had to do to achieve this medal? I had to save a child and then I got hypothermia and I've got, look at my bruise," like this. They didn't get it. They don't get it, do they? No. But in our clan, it's an achievement. And you know, when we do, let's see your worst bruise, that's like gift week, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you know, show us your OCR kiss. You know what I mean? Where have you got your bruise this week? And you know, what medal have you got? It is, and I guess OCR is going through a bit of a. It's a boom for us middle-aged people, shall I say?
Yeah.
Because we were brought up in the 70s and 80s, and at that time, we didn't have mobile phones, and we didn't have, the Xboxes that they've got now and everything else. Our life was brought up as you went out and you played TIG and you played football. I don't remember me having a watch until I was about 14. My day was done by the sun.
Yeah,
when the sun went down, I had to come in.
Yeah.
And I never missed a tea or a dinner or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there were no mobile phone for my mum and dad to ring me. It was literally, they'd walk out door and shout my name.
Yeah.
I didn't come and answer it, then my tea went cold.
Of course it did. And you were in the doghouse for a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, and back then it was all about getting mucky and dirty and things like that. And now we can't even sometimes get as kids to go out and do these things.
Oh, they drive me crackers, the boys. I mean, that's why I love them joining in as well, like with your run. The boys will join in. And once they get into it, they actually really, really love it. In fact, my eldest lives in all my Spartan race T-shirts. That's all he lives in. He does actually have a wash every day and put a clean one on. It's just he's got 50 of the same. He must, like, poor child's only got one T-shirt. No, we've got 400 of them. No, it is. I think it just ignites something in you that allows you to be a kid again. I mean, it's like the nuclear zip wire. That's why when you said zip wire, I remember I went on that for the first time a couple of years ago, because it's quite a way for me to drive all the way down there. And I screamed the whole way down. And the guy said, "Oh, were you scared?" I went, "No, it was amazing." I was squealing with delight, and he thought I was shitting myself. And I was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm on the Krypton Factor. Woohoo!" Like...
You do, that's the Krypton Factor. You see, it's things like that we were brought up with, weren't we? And all of that nature. I mean, I remember doing when Tough Mudder brought King of the Swingers out.
Love it, yeah.
I went and did it 3 times. Yeah. Jojo Connolly was on the Marshall on it.
Yeah.
And I'm going, "Jojo, I'm coming around again." She went, "Come on."
Come on then. Yeah. But it's funny, it's when I speak to some of my friends who don't do it, they're like, "Oh my God, you're badass." And I'm like, "Am I?" So you do get a bit of kudos. And even my son's mate said, because I don't know what they think I am. And he said the other day, he said, "Your mum's really cool, but she scares the shit out of us because she'd beat us up, wouldn't she?" But I wouldn't, but that's the kind, because I run around in mud and I'll do daft shit like that. I think that's what people think. They're like, "Oh my God, you're really good." It's like, but you can do that as well. I'm no different than you. 5 years ago, I'd had the kids and I was fat and unfit, and I struggled to run around the block 5 years ago, believe it or not. Yes, as soon as I started, it ignited all my old fitness. But if I look at pictures of me, I'm so strong now, maybe not over lockdown, but I couldn't lift weights. I couldn't do a pull-up. I couldn't run around. Me getting to 5K was quite a big thing. So you can't say, "Oh yeah, you've run all your life." No, I had 10 years of doing sod all, and I was skinny. I couldn't lift weights. So you can do it. And I think it's nice to see. And if you can do park run, you can do an obstacle race. And as I say, you don't have to do every obstacle. Don't think that you have to climb over the 12-foot wall. Don't want to do it, you don't do it. And there's no skin off anybody's nose. The fact you've just tried is enough.
Yeah, you're quite right. I love to get kids down to our event. There's nothing worse than, and we give kids entries for less than we actually make on per person. It costs us to have kids at the event, but I'd sooner have that and let the adults pay that little bit more to counteract it. But
absolutely, and Oscar loves it. I've got one fond year when he went round with Phil. I think he actually did 2 laps, and it's Phil pushing Oscar over, and the memories that they had from it were fantastic. Just love it. It is a real family thing, and I would rather pay more to allow the kids to run for free. And I like the fact that you've got your refund thing now. It's a straight refund isn't it? It's dead easy. Yeah.
So if our event doesn't go ahead because of COVID or the government doesn't allow it, I'll just refund everyone.
I mean, how fair is that? Why would you? It's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't be no fairer than that. No. I mean, we will make that decision early June. So if it looks like in June that we can't go ahead, that's when because we don't spend a penny of race entry fees until then, when we've got to order shirts and medals and things like that. Because with all events, and I shouldn't really talk about this, is your podcast, not about.
No, it is, because it affects me, and it's part of it.
Yeah, but anyone who, like yourself, who comes along that, sometimes they want to know why, and we made a decision early because we don't spend people's money, if we can't refund them. Yeah. I offered it this year. Everyone could have a refund this year, and I think we had about 25-30% people accept the refunds, and then they've all booked on again. You know what I mean?
I don't even know where we're up to, because this is the point. I trust you so much that I just email you and go, have I done it? And you'd sort it out. Not that you want people to be a dickhead like me, but like Spartan was so convoluted and complex. I've got codes coming out my ears. I don't know what I have booked, what I haven't booked. Not a bloody clue, because it's so complicated.
Yeah.
I won't get a refund, but I've got 40 million codes sat there somewhere. I haven't got a sodding clue what I'm supposed to do with.
I think the way he's speaking Spartan, because I spoke to Matt Brook, and he's confident that he's going to let everyone run as much as they can, you know, that they're booked for. So if they, you know, they have to carry over, they have to carry over, you know. I think Matt Brook at Spartan, there's a great managing director, sorry.
Yeah,
the race director.
They're absolutely ace.
And I think he's going to take Spartan and Tough Mudder forward. And
because the one thing I must say, out of all of them, they put on a fantastic race. I think the race is so well organised, and it must have been a logistical nightmare for them last year. It was on, it was off, it was up, it was down, it was left, it was right. So they've done something that's worked, but it is quite, you know, I'll be honest with you, I forget where I'm bloody racing half the time, and I forgot that code and I stuck it in an email somewhere. Now I can't find my email. Now I can't remember my password. You know where I'm coming from, don't you? Yeah. Whereas with your races, I did just email you, where am I? What am I doing? Who am I? You know, turn up at 9 o'clock, you're on. You know,
I do get a lot of emails like that from people, you know, have I booked? And then I have to go back and have a look and yeah, you have, or no, you haven't, or whatever.
Yeah. I just know that ours is a fixture in the thing. I think we've paid. I think he even won one last year because I came second, didn't I?
Yeah. You got the free entry because you come second, because you come
beer on the podium.
Top 3 men, top 3 women. They all get free entry the following year, and also we give a free entry to one child as well, because we always give it one child entry, which we call them. I can't remember what the medal's called now. Achievement
award.
And they get a big medal, just like the winners of the men's and the women's. Yeah. And it could be for anything. That achievement award could be anything. It could be because they've never ever done an OCR before, and they've gone through and they've enjoyed it, or it could be because they've done something special, you know.
Yeah, or help somebody or anything, isn't it?
Yeah, it's anything. And the I'm not the out and out owner. It's owned by someone else as well, so I'm just a partner of it. And there's 3 of us, and the marshals even get to say. So if the marshals see something that's happened on the course, they tend to tell us as well. Yeah. Then we'll nip down, one of us will nip down and have a look.
Oh, it says the marshals are always great. You always get thumbs up and claps from everybody. Yeah. It's just a really nice atmosphere. Love it.
So with all the codes you've got, so you're going to be doing some Spartans this year?
I think I am. I think I've got Wales booked. Is the one in June?
Yeah.
The Peterborough
Wales
one.
Is the first one, yeah.
Yeah, and Peterborough, I think. That's what I've got booked. I can't remember. I think I've got a nuclear booked, but I don't know where that was transferred from the year before. I don't know what's happening with that.
Is that the May one? Because
I think it is.
That's the 15th and 16th of May.
Don't think that's going to happen, is it?
Well, it's the day after is when they're opening everything up, so we're not sure yet. We're waiting on James to announce it. And
to be honest, I don't particularly want to race till I've had my vaccine, because I'm, 100 years old. I've got a fairly good chance of dying. So, I don't. And is it going to be racing, or is it just going to be you're going to go off in 2s and 3s? That's not racing to me. I want to get in, and I think I've got that one booked. I think I've got Born Survivor, because I won that one. Got an elite.
That's over your way, isn't it? Born Survivor.
Yeah, it's great. Macclesfield. It's literally a hop, skip, and a jump for me. It's a really good one, and I've won that now. I think I've booked that. I can't remember. There's another one that came up.
Have I got ETM booked?
No, it's not for me. I've done it twice, hated it twice, threw up on the last one, ended up having a mental moment, so I'm not doing that again. It's not for me. I'm not good without sleep. I think I've got a Tough Mud. I don't know. I've given up. I've given up wondering what I'm doing, because I've kind of got to the point until we know where we are. I can't be asked. What else have I got booked? There's one that came up for 20 quid the other day. Is it the old Ram Run?
Oh, yeah, well, it's not Ian's anymore. It's Kevin and Carl from Obstacle Racing Magazine have taken over.
20 quid, and I said I'll use that when I'm not running any kind of elite wave or anything. I'm just running it with Phil for a bit of a let's see if I can remember how to climb over a wall and do a rope climb.
Well, I don't think there's going to be obstacles as in man-made obstacles. It's more of a natural obstacle.
Perfect, even better.
Yeah, just natural trail runs, lots of you've been to the Art of England Centre before.
Oh, it's lovely.
For Mud 7 and that, and the terrain is through them.
It's enough.
Brilliant. it can break people, just the terrain.
I love running in the woods. That's my happy place because it's just so quiet. I just need to work out where I'm doing and what I'm doing. But yeah, I've got your race booked. I don't think I've booked Bog Commander, but until the world we know what we're doing, I just don't see the point of booking everything up at the moment. But I may even transfer my nuclear race just because I don't know what it is.
I think they might postpone it. I've got a strange feeling they're going to postpone it slightly for a couple of weeks, but we'll see.
It is what it is, isn't it? There's no point getting stressed over it. We're all in, and it's going to be interesting because I say it might be 2 years by the time I touch an obstacle that I've not touched one for. That's a long time to forget how to race. Your first one of the season anyway is always, oh my God, I've got a bruise and I've got bog belly, and by the end of the season you don't seem to get bruised. So I'm dreading this first one. I'm going to not be able to walk for a week, am I?
And we're recording this on 28th of February, so this is not going to go out just yet, but it's Jacksonville in America today. Now I'm gagging to touch my phone and see what's going off because they're actually racing right now. So I'm like, I've seen the sprint results. So Nicole Miracle won the women's and VJ won the men's over in America. Because I'm getting more into the results and that of things, and seeing how they're done. But it was quite funny. I saw the start line and they had masks on the start line. I think that I would take them off when they start, but they had masks on at the start line. It was very
weird.
Very strange racing.
Yeah, I'm just not that desperate for a race that if I have to go with a mask and gel my hands every time in an obstacle, I'd rather just wait a bit. So the ones I am going to do for very much this year is going to be have fun this year, because I've had 8 weeks off because I've just not been very well. I'm getting there, but I just need to pace it and take it easy. This year's all about just learning again, and next year we'll see, and then I'll be a right old bastard by then, won't I?
I can see you coming to Overload in August and you're racing. I really see you racing then. You probably might not first 1 or 2, but I think
we'll see. Problem is, I get the bit between my teeth, and I'm like, I'll just have fun. And next minute, I'm pushing kids out the way and kicking people. Let me through. I'm first. Yeah, Phil, I'll run with your balls to that, giving him the bees as I'm off. Yeah.
Have you not thought of maybe going for longer distance races? Is it not interesting? Because you do specialise in that. I'd say
short burst,
10k to 10 mile event, don't you? I
am not a long distance runner. I never, even on my training runs, I never run more than 10 miles. The thought of I've done one half marathon. I was bored out of my mind. The thought of doing a marathon, if you're going to do that distance, get in the car as far as I'm concerned. I'm an ex-sprinter. I'm a 100 metre sprint girl. 200 was my major. 200 metres, and you did that and you were done. So that, and I have to, when I do get to the track, I have to remember when we're doing laps a bit. So I go off like a greyhound, and then I have to go, shit, can't now keep this up now. How embarrassing is this? And that's what happens. And they even shout, "There's no dogs chasing you, Kehoe," because I go like a dog out of a track. And then I go, oh, shit in hell, I've got to keep this up. This is well embarrassing. I can't do it. And that's probably why I do all right in the OCR, because your first 2 obstacles, if you can get over them before the maddening crowd, you get a bit of... So I'm really good at putting my foot down for the first 10 minutes and then reining it back in. But I'm not a long distance runner. Everybody says I'm built for it, but it's not for me. I am sure I run. I mean, my average training runs, I'm running at about 170 beats per minute. I run at a high heart rate. I've had all my my heart rate checked and everything, because it was something I have to check for years. I am just known as a high beater. I'm supposed to do low heart rate training, but my coach has said, you know what? You're a short, fast sprinter. That's what I thrive in. And I love it. I find slow running bores the life out of me. It's not for me. I remember we did the real 10 miler a couple of years ago. Oh, good God, I'd rather have my teeth pulled out and smack myself with the face with a cactus than do that again. Sodding hell, that was boring.
I'm interested, but you say you're not a long runner then. So a lot of races out there that there's different types of shoes for when you're on the track, sprinting, middle distance and long distance. So what shoes are you wearing at the moment then? Are you wearing the lightweight IROX?
I love my Hokers or Hockers, however you pronounce them.
Right.
So if I'm doing trail runs, I've got Speed Goats to just suit my feet. And then
But those are quite heavy.
Yeah, but they suit me. But my short, I've got some other They're all hockers. I call them hockers. I've got some lightweight ones. Basically, I'm very much old school. I put them on. If they feel comfortable, I wear them. That's my rule of thumb. They suit me. I went into Asics and they balls my leg up. I tried zero drops, no good for me because of the way I've got really bad ankle mobility. So I really struggle getting my heels down when I'm squatting. I've just got really shortened. I had really bad ankle problems when I was a kid. I had an accident where I basically turned my feet the wrong way round, so it shortened everything. And my hip depth is really short, so I struggle very much with squats. I'm never going to be an Olympic weightlifter. Put me on a leg press, I'm fine. So I've got certain biomechanics that don't, because I'm a sprinter, I've always run on my toes.
Yeah.
So to bring it down now, I'm very much a flat foot runner. I tried ultras, balls my leg up because it was zero drop. So hockers suit me. I run in them. I don't wear spikes on the track. I used to run in spikes. I've lived in spikes, but I've only got a size 3 feet. So when I used to sprint when I was a kid, to do a block start, I used to spend hours practicing block start after block start. And my coach said, "Why are you on your tiptoes?" And I said, "My toes won't bend in my shoe because literally my toes are probably that big."
Right.
And they literally don't bend. So I've got a really strange running style. So, but I run like a sprinter.
Right. And do we have any, this question came in earlier, do we have any strange habits before we run? So, some
normally
people...
have about 8 shits. When I used to sprint, I used to have a mantra that I used to say to myself, and you'll notice I'm a chit-chat box before a race. We've
never noticed that once, but I'm enjoying it, but we're not noticing it at all.
No, I don't chat at all. So you can see this is me. On race day, I am quiet as a mouse. I don't want to speak to anybody. You leave me to it. My husband drives me mad because I like to be there early. I like to sit calm. I do some weird stretches. So yes, I do have stuff that I do, but that's to keep my anxiety under control, because I had a really bad year a few years ago with my anxiety, and I was finding I was burning my energy up. I was having almost panic attacks before races. And then by the time I got running, the first kilometre was like I was having a panic attack the whole time. So CBD's really helped with that. So I just have to do my thing. And the guys that know me know that I leave me alone, just let me do my thing and don't speak to me. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. And do you, when you're racing and that, and you're on that start line, and do you eye up your competitors? Do you?
Of course. If you didn't, you'd be lying. Of course. Anybody says, "So I'm not bothered who rocks up." No. When a fastie rocks up, inside you go, "Oh, I've got a good chance today because it's her." Yeah, I reckon I'll come second or third. Oh fuck, she's turned up, I'm 8th. And if you're a competitive racer who doesn't think like that, you shouldn't be running competitive. You should be in with everybody else. Yeah. I'm sorry. You and sometimes you can literally call where you're going to be because you know who's there. Yeah.
I love that.
I'm dead honest.
I love that honesty there. There's no sitting on a fence there. Yes, shit, I'm 8th.
Yeah, it is. It's that balls. Why did she have to turn up today? And that's the joke of it, right? We're weekend warriors. It's who turns up on the day depends sometimes where you place. I've rocked up to race and gone, "This is a shoo-in because none of the good ones are here. It's me." And then they'll say, "Oh, you won." Yeah, but no, none of the decent ones turned up. Come on. Yeah.
You're right. It is. I don't race anymore. Mine's more fun running now. But when I was racing, I used to be very much like that. Who's here? Who's not here? Yeah. I probably got a chance for a top 4 or 5 here. Or top.
It did make me laugh on Tough when it became this money. All the elites came out of the woodwork because they could rock up and make 500 quid for a morning's work. Nice one. I absolutely don't blame them. And it was funny because the regulars that do it and are diehards, you could see them going, they were a big fish in a small pond, and then all of a sudden they're a small fish in a massive pond, and they realised that actually there's some amazing athletes outside of Tough Mudder, and it did chuckle to myself a few times. So, when, I'm winning all the time, and then, the likes of all the, the top elite girls rocked up, they and wallop, and I knew exactly what was going to happen. But yeah, it's an eye-opener for people who don't know what OCR is.
It is, and there are different levels of elite runners. People turn around and say, you're only an elite if you're the best in your category. No, there's different levels of the elite runners in OCR because we have different races. The top runners are not going to turn up to every race in the country, which I quite like because then it gives other people a chance. It gives other people a chance of winning and earning a little bit of kudos and a little bit of money.
It's just, and I think that's what it is, and that's why I kind of like Spartan, because it's age cap. It's great. If you're an elite, you are going off in that elite wave, and you're running against competitors that push you. But at least I've got a bit of a fighting chance in my age cap. That I possibly will podium because I'm running against girls my age. Which you put me against a 20-year-old. A 20-year-old should win. I remember one girl saying to me, "I reckon I'll beat you in this," and she was, I don't know, mid-20s, and I said, "I hope you do, because I'm 15 years older than you. I'm old enough to be your bloody mum. I hope you bloody do beat me." And it's like, it is, being the age you are, I've noticed I can kind of keep up with them, but their recovery is so much quicker. They're bouncing the next day ready to go again, where I'm like, I need a week in bed and a lie down and a pint of gin,
Yeah, I get that 100%. That's me, especially some of the tough races that are out there. If you've been and done tough guy like you struggle now. You do tough guy. You do nuts. You do anything over 3 laps of nuts, 3 or 4 laps of nuts. You need 3 or 4 days off afterwards before you even think about running. Your mind getting out there.
And the youngsters don't get that. And I'd love to phone them in 20 years' time to see if they're still doing it at the level that I was doing it then. Does that make sense? Just to go, so when you had a pop saying that, why you're not running the next day, and well, I'm 44, 45, come on, So, and there is a massive, why do you think our professional sports people usually retire at 30? I'm classed as a geriatric now, aren't I? So
but you do keep up with a lot of the elites. You are, you're not that far behind them.
Well, it's far enough not to win, isn't it? So I know my place in society.
Well, Michelle, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I hope everyone enjoys this like I've enjoyed it. It's been a pleasure. You.
It was a right good laugh. I'm going to go and have my roast chicken dinner now.
Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye, Alan.
Well, there you go, everyone. I hope you enjoyed listening to that. A little bit different to our modern day podcast, isn't it? Because back then, we didn't know what we knew now about editing, so I've actually left it exactly where it were. So you can see the difference between back then, when we had spaces where people talked, and those and those R's, and now we have very little of that. Things have changed. We've moved on. This is our 350th podcast we've put out there. So I hope you're enjoying them. Don't forget, if you are, you can join our patrons. Links are in the description, or you can buy us a beer, whatever you want to do. Support us. We don't make money on this. This is all about helping us to show your support to help us. And I keep getting my words mixed. I can't get my words out there. To help us pay for the overheads of doing this. Me and you don't get a penny out of this. And it helps support the sport because, as you know, we put the awards on. Again, we don't make money out of that. For us, it's all about giving everything back to you guys. So yeah, please support us if you can. In the meantime, you take care, you stay safe, and we'll speak to you soon. Bye.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do.